A few weeks back, I severely hurt my left arm, meaning I had to stop using it for a while. That meant no video games, right? Well, no, obviously. I remembered how much I used to love card games, and in this video I'll share with you my experiences with coming back to Hearthstone, as well as trying out Gwent and Magic the Gathering for the first time. I will mostly be covering stuff like the overall fun factor, the progression systems, as well as even smaller things like the PvE, which I personally am a huge fan of overall. So I hope you enjoy. Disclaimer, while I did play all three of these titles over the period of almost 3 months, this video will still be my subjective opinion. I will get things wrong and forget others. This isn't out of malicious intent, but you are still very welcome to call me a twat in the comments. Hearthstone is undoubtedly the game I have the most experience with out of all three titles. I started playing it in early 2015 and quit shortly after the release of the Kobolds and Catacombs expansion. At the time, the game felt really stale to me and I just felt like I was forcing myself to play it. Plus, since the introduction of the free expansions a year system, as a player that used to buy the starter bundle for every expansion, I felt exploited. I was to spend 150 euros a year to get a third of the cards and then grind the rest? Deck recipes all felt the same, and I was just tired of playing with and against the same archetypes. Now, coming back to the game, I obviously didn't expect it to drastically change. It is still Hearthstone after all. And I can report that it stayed true to what it has always been, in both good and bad ways. Before I could even play, I had to do something I never thought I would. To craft myself a new deck for Standard, I killed some of my wild cards. It proved to be a worthy sacrifice, as I've been more of a person that acts as if they prefer the WoW format, but I really don't. Right off the bat, Hearthstone definitely hasn't lost its spark. While the game itself can be a very limiting corset for the design of cards, the experience the Hearthstone team has gathered over the years allowed them to navigate this limited space with grace and consistently add new cards with fun effects. I was surprised at just how much fun I had trying these out. The meta seems to be set in stone again, even after just a few weeks after the new expansion launched. This is nothing new and it didn't surprise me. From what I could gather, Rogue and Warrior are currently the top dogs, but that's honestly fine as long as the classes we're currently on top keep changing. I also seem to notice a decline in random effects, which I found to be one of Hearthstone's biggest weaknesses in the past. Although the impact of randomization effects versus skill can be discussed in depth, it's undeniable that the game has gotten less frustrating and makes you feel like you have things in your hand more. From what I can tell, Blizzard has also lost its crazy aversion to changing cards after release, which is something I despised a few years back. They now seem to actually nerf and buff cards almost consistently, which is awesome. Tavern brawls, who have always been a fun distraction, have remained that, which I'm very pleased by, as they have always been one of my favorite parts about the game. And the fact that they reward a classic pack most of the time will keep them relevant reward-wise forever. Arena is also a fun way of earning cards, provided you have the balls and the guides for it. Now onto the PvE. It is expertly crafted, humoristic and immersive. The game offers all kinds of PvE content, from classic adventures with boss fights to puzzles from the Doomsday Project to the dungeon crawling experiences of Rustican's Rumble and the like. I've always loved the PvE content and I still think that it's one of Hearthstone's biggest strengths. Unfortunately, the developers don't seem to agree, as they barely encourage the player base to even play this content. Yes, when something new comes out, you get a special quest and earn a pack or two. You might even get a certain card back or even hero for completing everything a section has to offer, but that's it. You won't get anything ever again, which is really disappointing. I'm not asking to get a pack for beating a boss every day, but some smallish gold and dust rewards would go a long way. It's kinda sad to see this amazingly crafted content just go to waste. The progression in Hearthstone is fine. Now that cards regularly rotate out of the standard formats, the barrier of entry will almost never get extremely high. It however also means that if you're trying to enter the game and be semi-competitive, or have fun in general, you will have to do so quickly, as the cards you use right now will one day inevitably rotate out. Barring the classic set, obviously. Completing daily quests can also be a hassle, as the ones who are a little bit more creative or easy often give you lesser gold rewards. So if you truly want to earn good rewards, you will have to reroll the ones that give less and only complete the ones that give 60 gold, which is time consuming. You can earn enough gold for a pack per day, but that would require you to win an unholy amount of games per day, and truly isn't feasible for most people. However, here's a thing that many people, including me, often forget about. If you have 1 or 2 friends who play Hearthstone, this game becomes amazing. Not only does playing with friends allow you to quickly finish quests, it also takes away the frustrations of playing against meta decks, games dragging on for too long, or losing to some random bullshit. Friends can lend each other decks or face off in tavern brawls, so it doesn't even matter if you're a new player or an old one. It's just pure simple fun. This is something no other game can offer. If you have just one other friend that plays this game, it's immediately worth it to check it out. You won't regret it. Now that I've got the rightful praise and love out, let me rant about one last thing. The shop. The packs are horrendously overpriced, and you'll never convince me otherwise. No other fucking game has the gall to charge so much for so little, it's embarrassing. And Blizzard even had the audacity to raise the prices multiple fucking times. Yes, you get random cool shit for pre-ordering now, but is that worth like 60 or 80 euros? No. Plus, they are still offering heroes for the atrocious price of 10 euros. 10 euros. 10 euros. For what is literally an image with a couple of voice lines? Whatever. Hearthstone is still the card game for everyone, so I can only recommend you to try it out. If you have friends, that is. Also, the reconnect feature is still shit, so what's up with that? My experience with Gwent has been a far more recent one. Contrary to what seems to be the norm, I didn't enjoy Gwent when it started off as a minigame in The Witcher 3. I recall it being slow and annoying to me. Now that it's become a fully realized game, that has changed. In fact, I was immediately enamored with it. Far faster than how other games were able to hook me. The main reason for this has to be the progression system, which honestly just feels sublime in this game. I've always been obsessed with earning skill points for skill trees in RPGs, and this game absolutely hits the right spot. The progression is partly so great because it gives you so much more choice than other card games. Every time you open a pack, which includes 5 cards, you get to choose between 3 cards on the 5th and rarest one. This is coupled with the reward point system, which allows you to choose where to invest points, progressing more with certain factions as well as unlocking leaders or just more currency in general. You will always be able to progress towards the decks and specific goals you set for yourself. Reward points are earned by completing certain tasks, which are similar to achievements in other games, therefore encouraging weird and creative ways of play, as well as by winning rounds, not games, on the daily. The fact that winning a round allows you to earn rewards as well as complete quests is one of my favorite parts of this game. Winning rounds is fairly easy thanks to the conceding being a viable part of the strategy in this game. And what game it is! What impressed me from the get-go is the laser focus on skill in Gwent. This is its biggest strength and biggest weakness at the same time. But let me explain. One of my frustrations with other games is the high amount of randomizations. Rolling dice, tossing coins, it all adds up together with wacky card effects, making it feel like the game is slipping out of your control, without you being able to do anything against it. With Gwent, this is different. There's next to nothing I'd categorize as annoying randomization in this game. allowing the skill and knowledge of each player to shine. However, this also means that the disparity between players can feel insurmountable, especially for a beginner. Your opponents will not only have better cards than you, but also a vast amount of knowledge and skill, making comebacks or winning not only feel impossible, but, well, actually be impossible. The developers seem to have noticed how unfriendly to beginners the game can be, and have overhauled the beginner decks for the 5 available factions a bit. But a problem that is so deeply rooted in the game's core can't be fixed that fast. In fact, I have to report that now that I have opened around 90 kegs, with most of them being classic basic kegs, as well as having earned a somewhat large amount of rewards from the reward trees, I still was not able to build any deck found online. I'm not kidding. I've often tried to find a deck online to net deck, as I don't feel comfortable building one alone with my limited skills, but none of them have been in craftable range for me, as my current amount of crafting materials weren't enough to even get a few of the required cards. This left me using the starting decks of each faction, which are honestly fun enough, but their limitations are always clear, with some cards almost feeling like sabotage if you draw them. Looking at you, Bone Talisman. The in-game store is fine, with prices of kegs sadly comparable to Hearthstone's packs. Sometimes I found a few interesting bundles offered, but the last one I saw cost 100 euros, which I'm sure had great value, but boy, that's scary. One last thing I liked about it is that it offers a few cosmetic items for meteorite power, which out of the 3 cosmetic packs offered, I was already able to get one of just through normal progression. Last, but certainly not least, the PvE. The PvE in Gwent comes in form of Thronebreaker, a separate game that can be bought for 25 euros, offering a large-scale campaign that is a cross between a classic RPG, a card game, and even has some puzzle elements. Believe me, it is awesome. It's more than worth your money, and it will even grant you some rewards for the main game, like reward points and cosmetics. Sadly, it appears that it has sold below expectations, which means that the devs will stray away from PvE content for a while. Which is unfortunate, as it's clear that they have both talent and passion for it. Hopefully they will bring it back somehow, sometime, as I would honestly buy that immediately. Ultimately, if you're looking for a high-skill, high-reward game with very passionate and active developers, this is the game for you. Just be sure to jump over the entry hurdles first. Out of all 3 games, this is the one I am least experienced with. It also needs to be mentioned that this is the only game out of all 3 that is still in beta, so keep that in mind. The first thing I noticed about Magic is the more complex card effects and the good amount of different options provided each turn. It very much reminded me of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. Plus, it isn't confusing complexity, it just means that the cards you play actually have effects that you can activate again later once they are on board, provided you have enough mana. A system which I also really enjoy is that the term class or card color is just very loosely applicable to Magic as a whole, since you can very flexibly decide which card colors you would like to use. This goes hand in hand with how diverse the meta seems to be currently, something other games struggle to achieve. The new player experience in this game is elongated, but feels consistently rewarding. Similar to Gwent, this game also has a reward tree, which allows you to unlock upgrades and cards for your basic decks. I found this really engaging, as you are always quick to level up and therefore keep unlocking new things in a fun manner. An added bonus is that the amount of gold you get will basically guarantee that you unlock a card pack per day, thanks in part to how well balanced the quests and the rewards are. The fact that you get gold each day just for winning is added to the more laid-back requirements for the quests, like just playing a certain amount of any type of card. Differing from the other games, I also had the occasion to play this in physical form, thanks to some of my friends. I was surprised to learn just how many people out there are fans of the game, and was lucky enough to connect with them and even get them to make new acquaintances. We only played the Commander format, which is unique because it's a 4 versus 4 play mode that is nothing like anything I've played before. I had lots of fun trying out new decks and really liked the mechanic of centering the deck around the commanders. Obviously, translating this kind of game mode into an online experience would be a nightmare, but I'm glad that I took this dive nonetheless. I probably won't be buying any cards in real life just yet, but I did buy the €5 starter pack for MtG Arena. Otherwise, the shop offers a large number of cosmetics, which provide new looks for your cards or turn them into gifts. I was surprised at how much the shop emphasizes these offers, as I think taking a cosmetic approach to monetizing a card game is an excellent idea. You obviously can buy cards, but different from other games, the packs don't get cheaper if you buy them in larger amounts. The price remains fair and weighted throughout. This shop gets a full score from me. The PvE in this game is currently limited to its tutorial and training mode, both of which are surprisingly entertaining thanks to the character of Sparky, a humorously voiced light ball-y thing. This made going through the tutorial a breeze, as well as not making me feel bad when I hit up the training mode again. Overall, you can tell that this game is still in beta, as it lacks social features, for example, but it shows great promise. I really think that the developers have something special in their hands, and hope that their monetization focused on cosmetics proves to be a successful one. If a flexible, creative game with many different approaches to building decks sounds like something you'd be into, please check this one out. And that's it. That was my review of these 3 card games. That's the video. It might not seem like it, but this is probably the toughest video I made yet. It took me a long while to get this whole script written because I wanted it to be fair and balanced for all 3 of those games. And I actually had to play them for a good while before I could start writing anything. I remember starting to write this like a month ago, and I just saw that I didn't have enough information, or I felt like I was being unfair. And I really just try to keep it concise, but keep it fair. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was something for you. I hope the perspective of someone who is new or even just very casual in Hearthstone, very casual in the games he has already played, I hope it's a perspective that has merit. I know with online games, people tend to only care about those people who are really good at the games, but it is really important to me personally, and I think developers would also care about this to know how new players feel, how the very casual players feel, because you can still earn money from them, as you probably saw throughout the video. We are certainly an audience that you can easily target more, especially with stuff like PvE content. But yeah, I don't want to go into a rant here. As I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Also, thank you so much for reaching 200 subscribers. That's insane. I was planning on making a video of me making pancakes for 100 subscribers, but that failed. You will not be able to see that. Like, you will not get to see that. But who knows? Maybe I will be doing something special baking-wise at 500 or something like that. I could even do something special baking-wise with 200. I would never have thought that I would reach 200 subscribers, but yeah. Thank you so much. Goodbye.